Welcome to the penalty box.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Penalty Box podcast. Hi, a lot has changed in the past couple days, or since we last talked. First of all, we hit 16K on Instagram, which is insane, so thank you so much, that's crazy. And we also hit 22,000 listens on our podcast, which is insane again. So incredible. So thank you guys so much. And we also have moved the podcast onto YouTube, and I'm working on getting it on Apple Podcasts. It's new for me. I've always just had Spotify, but a lot of people have been requesting YouTube and Apple Podcasts, so we are working on getting that done so you can listen in wherever you are able to. And even if you don't want to listen on YouTube, subscribing is super helpful because it's helpful. I don't know. Anyway, I love you guys. I missed you. I feel like I haven't spoken to you in a long time. I don't know why. Every time it feels so long, but it's only a week. But we do have a playoff update. Can you believe it? We are in playoff season, which is absolutely crazy. We have 16 teams right now that are currently battling it out on the ice, and some of them are off to a very good start. I want to say the Hurricanes, they are good. The Panthers, the Rangers, and they actually won the President's Trophy, which I joked about. I wanted it to happen, and if you know what I'm talking about, then you know. And if you don't, in a previous episode, we covered the President's Trophy curse, and I don't really love the Rangers, so I'm not complaining they won the President's Trophy. They can take that. But yeah, the Hurricanes have been doing super good too. They got a 2-0, I believe, lead. Yeah, it's 2-0 as of when I'm recording this in their series against the Islanders. But that's not even like the crazy part. The crazy part is that they managed to come back from a 3-0 and win Game 2 on Monday night's regulation play, which is absolutely insane. And one of my best friends in the whole world, Simone, she was actually there and she got to experience it. It was one of her first games, and she texted me after and she was like, I am so happy you got me into hockey. She was like, I see why you're obsessed with it. I love it. And I was like, that makes me so, like, I was giggling. I was so happy because that makes me so happy. Anyway, sorry. The Canucks and the Oilers are doing good too. The Oilers got, I believe it was 7 goals in Game 1 on Monday, and that was the highest of any playoff team. And McDavid got 5 assists, and then Zach Hyman got a hat trick. So that is like the big news, playoff-wise, besides injuries, which we're going to go into because it's kind of our first hockey hot topic. And it's that there are just a lot of people getting injured, and we are a week into playoffs, not even, which is just, it's not great. And I'm about to butcher some of these names, but Samuel Girard, Mikhail Sergachev, Brett Pesce, Andrew Peak, Sandin, Nick Jensen, Demko, Ethan Bear, all of them, and even a rookie. Sorry, I had to read the names, and I can't. I can't do it, I'm sorry, guys. Even a rookie, his name is Vincent. He was injured in Game 1 against the Rangers, which I'm not even surprised about. When somebody says they get injured against the Rangers, I'm like, shocker, wow. But apparently more people are getting injured since I took my notes. You have to remember, oh my god, you don't have to remember, but for the podcast, I do my notes one day, and I write all my notes and all the names and all the facts and all that, and then I record and I edit another day. So the notes are obviously before the recording and editing, and I have checked, and there have been a lot more people getting injured. I don't know what is going on or what's happening. It's really unfortunate. Having anybody get injured is rough, but we are going to talk about our second hot topic, and it is about how Lindy Ruff is now back in Buffalo. And if you did not know, Lindy Ruff was the New Jersey Devils head coach for the past couple of years, and we actually just fired him this past season. That's just your pre-context. But for those of you who do know about him, he signed a 2-year contract to come back to the Sabres as head coach. And this is, I'll wait till the end to get my thoughts. But Lindy Ruff, he led the Sabres from 1997 to 2013, and he coached 1,774 regular season games and 132 playoff games. And all of his success started back in Buffalo, and yeah, they went far with him as their coach. But now he is 64, and he was actually just recently, like I mentioned, fired as head coach of the New Jersey Devils in March. And that was literally only a few months after he signed like a multi-year contract extension. And I'm not going to just like crap on him the entire time. He did do really good in 2022-2023. He and the Devils had their best season in franchise history. They got to the second round of the playoffs. They beat the Rangers. It was an incredible season, and that's not this past season. It's the season before that. So I think we were all shocked as Devils fans or supporters or whatever when this season we just flunked so bad. It was so rough. I'm not a coach, so I can't fully judge, but I feel like he made awful calls a lot, and I think a lot of fans saw that online and talked about it online, especially Twitter. I love the Twitter discourse, but yeah. The next hot topic we're going to talk about is how the Ducks are likely to name a captain before their next season. And this is really exciting because they haven't had a captain since 2022. And their old captain, his name was, I believe it was Ryan Getzlaf. Sorry, I know I'm butchering these names, I'm sorry. But he retired in 2022. And he was actually the captain for 12 seasons, which is insane. And this past season, they had this rotation of 5 players as alternate captains. And they were Cam Fowler, Mason McTavish, Troy Terry, Jacob Silverberg, and Adam Henrique. But Jacob did retire at the end of the season. And then on March 6th, Adam Henrique was traded to the Edmonton Oilers. So, oh my god, there's way too many names in my notes this week. And I hate having to say the names, but I gotta push through. But even though they have this awesome rotation thing, it really shows leadership, and I think it's awesome, they need a captain. Because they have missed the Stanley Cup playoffs for 6 seasons straight. And the last time they qualified was in 2018. But then they just absolutely... I'm trying not to swear as much, but they lost to the San Jose Sharks in the first round, which... Let's just say losing to the San Jose Sharks is pretty rough, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. But their coach agreed, also saying that they did need a captain. And the Ducks are one of 5 teams without a captain, along with the Buffalo Sabres, who we just talked about, the Chicago Blackhawks, Seattle Kraken, and Utah. And I'm sorry, but I'm kind of proud of my little transitions lately because this is the perfect transition to talk about Utah and the Utah team and the Utah updates. And if you did not know, the Arizona Coyotes were sold to some people who are moving them to Utah, but they're completely scrapping the name and the history and everything. They're just like taking the players pretty much. And I covered all of that in one of my previous episodes as one of our hockey hot topics, so go listen to that. But I want to start off by saying I don't think it's fair to shut down the Coyotes, and I genuinely feel so bad for the staff and the Ice Girls and the players and the fans. Like, it cannot be easy supporting a team for 28 years and then having to watch it leave this way. Like, I cannot imagine that happening to the Bruins or Devils. I would be a wreck. But we do have to chat about this whole situation, though, and what the hell is up with this new Utah team. We know that they're going to be in Utah starting next season, but the team still needs a name. And I have compiled a list of names that have been circulating the interwebs, and let me tell you, they're interesting, so I'm going to read them to you. We have the Utah Yetis, Utah Mammoths, Utah Outlaws, Utah Hockey Club /HC, Utah Blizzard, Utah Venom, Utah Flurry, and Utah Ice. let me tell you, if they name their team Utah Hockey Club, I will cry because that is horrendous. I am so sorry. I personally feel like all teams should have a mascot or an animal or something, like the New Jersey Devils, and then they have Sparky as their mascot, or the Florida Panthers, or even the Bruins. You know what I mean? I just think they're trying to make it, like, they're trying to take the character out of it. Like, Utah Hockey Club would be so cute on a sweatshirt, but it would not be cute as, like, a team. Like, go hockey club. Like, who's gonna be saying that? Don't do that. Don't do that. I also think Utah Ice is also lame. Like, that's just, Utah Outlaws and Mammoths also are bad. Utah Venom sounds very badass, but then when you think about it, you're like, Utah? Like, it's just full of, like, Mormons. Like, that's not an insult, but it's, like, really, like, what venom do they have? I don't really understand. But anyway, that's all I have to say about Utah. And that takes us to our hockey portion of the podcast, which, let me tell you, I have been kind of slacking over the past few episodes because writing these notes, they're long. You have to write the notes. You want to make sure everything's right. You want to organize them. You want to make sure that you're getting as much info. You know, it's a lot, but you don't care about that. But today's educational portion is a fun one, and it's actually kind of simple. And I'm just going to be teaching or refreshing you guys on terms that are used in hockey. And I'm not just talking about, like, barn and biscuits and rockets or whatever. I'm talking real terms that are used in games so that when you're sitting with your friends, you can be like, oh, yeah, he just, like, I don't fucking know, hip checked, you know? He just fucking, I don't know, okay? I'm not good at thinking on the spot, but you get what I'm saying, okay? So we're gonna sit down, get your flashcards out, get your pens, get your pencils, and we're gonna be teaching. And I have all my words that I picked in different categories. So we have, like, places on the ice, we have actual positions, we have different kinds of hits, we have passing and shooting, and then we have penalties and, like, misconducts and stuff like that. I am telling you, I really put everything into this. So, I am a little sick, by the way. If my voice sounds different, I really do apologize. But we're going to dive into it, starting with the attacking zone. Also, by the way, the reason I'm very excited about this episode is because you can go back and listen. Like, if you are confused and you're stressed, and you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna go hang out with, like, this guy or this girl or whatever, and they like hockey, and I don't know anything about hockey, you can just come here and get all the facts so fast. Anyway, so the attacking zone is the area where your rival's goal is located. I'm trying to explain these in ways that are, like, easy to understand. The blue line are literally blue lines dividing the middle of the ice, which is also known as center ice or the neutral zone, from the end zones. Around the rink, they have boards, and those are wooden walls, and they keep the puck in play. Then we have center ice, which we just talked about. It's, once again, the neutral area between the two blue lines. And then we have center line, which is a red stripe, and it goes across the ice in the middle of two goals. Speaking of goals have creases, and you'll hear that a lot. A crease is a 4-foot by 8-foot area in front of each goal, and no rival player can go in there unless they have the puck. I kind of want to stay in the goalie section. So, a goal cage is another name for a net or a goal. The goal line is the red stripe, and it's at the end of the rink, and it goes from each side of the boards. Okay. This is my favorite one, and I saved it for the last note in places, and it is the penalty box, which is what we are named after, and it's the bench outside the playing area, and if you're in trouble, you go there to serve your penalty time. People will call it the sin bin. I sometimes call it timeout as a joke. I'll just be like, oh, he's in timeout. I think it's funny that literally they get sent to timeout. It is quite literally a box, if you didn't know. It's very funny. I highly encourage you to watch a game or look it up if you don't know. It's very funny. All right, now we're going to cover some positions. Ew, did you hear that? Like, I'm not going to lie. I have been pausing in between to, like, eat seaweed. Like, not random seaweed, but, like, I got seaweed from Trader Joe's, and I love seaweed. I'm a big seaweed girl, and I've been stopping to eat the seaweed in between takes. This is why I could never do like a physical podcast, because I need a drink, I need a snack, I need to like feel like I'm having like a conversation with my friends. Like I don't want to sit here like, do you know what I mean? Maybe one day, I don't know. Anyway, to the positions. A center. The center is on the forward line of a hockey team. Its position. Okay? D-men or defensemen are two players who play in front of the goalie, and their job is to keep the rival players from getting shots in the goal. They are literally defending the goalie. Fun fact, I was a goalie in soccer and a D-man, but mostly a goalie, and in every other sport I was a D-man. I did a lot of sports. Have I covered that ever? That's a fun fact about me, a little bit of lore. I did field hockey, I did soccer, I did cheer, I did dance, I did gymnastics, I did softball. It keeps going and going. Anyway, okay. We talked about the goalie already, but he guards the goal. And you might also hear goalies called goalies, obviously, or goalkeepers. And sometimes when I'm like doing research, I see people call them net minders. I don't ever call a goalie that, and I've never heard like a person be like, oh, I love Jeremy Swayman, he's my favorite netminder. But it's a common thing online, I guess. And then we have a wing, and they're the forward who lines up near the middle of the rink and then to either side of the center. Now we're going to go into some little hits and movements and things that happen during the game and on the ice. And we're going to start with body check/checking. And that's when you are literally hitting your opponent with your body to block him or take him out. It's that simple. When you see the hockey players shoving people into the wall, that is what checking is. Back checking is checking an opponent while skating backwards towards your own goal. You're going to hear all of these, but this one you're going to hear a lot, and it is clearing the puck. They're going to be like, oh my god, he's clearing the puck, or he cleared the puck, or whatever. That means getting the puck away from your area near your goal. On a power play, it's getting the puck out of your own defensive zone. So that's good. Forechecking is when an offensive player checks. Remember, checking is to like hit your opponent with your body. It's when they check an opponent in their own end to get the puck away, to continue the attack and stop them from going up the ice towards their goal. That's a lot, but I guess you could just listen to me repeat it. I don't know how else to help you. I'm sorry. I'm trying, okay? I'm trying. Freezing the puck, alright? Oh my god, Glorb just came up with a new song. Out with a new song, sorry. Oh my god. Alright. It says Puff Bitch. And I know it's about Mrs. Puffs. This is more lore. I unironically listen to Glorb. Glorb is unironically in one of my top 5 artists. It's not even funny. It's actually concerning. I think he is so smart. I'm so sorry. This is why you listen to me, though. I think he is so smart. His songwriting is incredible. He has to be a ghostwriter for somebody. Like, his lyrics are so insanely interesting that I will listen to songs over and over and over again, and then, like, months later realize, oh my god, there's a pun in there. Like, he is incredible, and I know he writes SpongeBob songs, and people call them AI songs. He writes them all, and he records them. He just uses AI to, like, filter his voice, if that makes sense. Like, he's come out and said he records the songs. Alright, anyway, if you didn't know Glorb, he's very cool, and I highly recommend. Back to, whoa, what the hell was that? Did you hear that? I don't know what that was. Back to hockey. Freezing the puck is when you pin the puck against the boards, which we talked about. Those keep the puck in. And it's when you're pinning it with your skate or your stick or your body to make the play stop. And then if you do this, it results in a face-off, which I think we're going to talk about later. Yes, it's in another category, though. A hat trick or a hattie is something you're going to hear all the time, and it is 3 goals scored by a player in one game. A hip check is a legal check where a player can stick out their hip and check an opposing player. A back pass it's pretty simple. It's literally a pass back to a teammate that's like trailing you. A blind pass is a pass to a teammate who's blocked or like partially blocked from the player's point of view. This next one you're going to hear a lot, and it's a breakaway. You're going to hear breakaway a lot. And it's when a player is clear of the defense and can go towards the goal without, like, people stopping him. And that's also called a fast break. You'll hear the refs, or not the refs, sorry, the announcers and the broadcasters always raising their voice at this point, going like, oh, he's on the breakaway. It gets you hype. Next is the face-off, and that is where and when. I guess there's like a face-off circle, which is in different areas, but a face-off is when a ref drops the puck between two players, opposing players. And that they do it at the start or to resume a game if there's a stoppage in play. A flip pass is a pass to a teammate where the puck is lifted, kind of like off the ice, literally, like kind of flipped. Killing a penalty is when a team survives a penalty without giving up a goal. A penalty shot, these are rare, but these are really, really exciting to experience, and it's when a player is given a free shot at the goal with only the goalie defending. And this is usually called when a player is hit or tripped from behind when they have like a very clear breakaway, which we talked about. What does that mean? Did you guess? Good job. Okay. Anyway, the next word on our list is power play, and this, oh my god, this is probably like one of the biggest ones you have to know. I say this for every word. I'm so sorry. Maybe you should be taking notes if you're not. But a power play is when a team has a 1 or 2 or however many man advantage due to penalties, and that gives them a good chance to score. So for example, say it's purple versus red. Red gets in trouble and they lose a player. Purple has an advantage. They have 1 man, and that is a power play. Slap shot. Slap shots are these hard shots where the player takes like this big ass swing before they hit the puck with their stick. Stick handling is controlling and moving the puck along the ice. A wrist shot is a quick and accurate shot, and it happens when you literally just snap the wrist as the puck hits the blade of the stick. I'm acting like I know what this is. I'm like, yeah, it's just a wrist shot. You just hit it when you snap your... I don't know. I can't actually play hockey, but I can watch it, and I can take notes, okay? Okay. Boarding is a minor penalty, and it's called when a player intentionally slams another player into the boards. That's probably easy for you to remember. That's a good one. Charging is a minor penalty, and it's called when a player takes more than 2 steps before checking an opponent. Cross-checking, I know this is super confusing because there's like checking and body checking and hip checking and cross-checking, but cross-checking is a minor penalty called when a player takes like the shaft of his stick and they like hit the rival player while holding onto the stick with both hands. Delay of game is a minor penalty, and it's called when a player will deliberately delay the game. Either they'll like hit the puck out of the rink, or they'll cover up the puck with a hand, or they'll be using an illegal stick, or anything like that. And then we have delayed penalties, and those are penalties that have not yet resulted in a stoppage of play because the team that will have the man advantage is in possession of the puck. So when this happens, the play will continue until the team being penalized touches the puck. Okay? I know that's a lot, but if a goal is scored before the play stops, then it's like invalid, I guess. Elbowing is a minor penalty, and it's when you literally elbow your opponent. Fighting, I don't know if you know what this is, but it's actually when you punch somebody. I'm kidding. Well, I mean, it is, but it's a major penalty, and it's when players take off their gloves and get in a fist fight. And you're going to hear this term a lot. This term is kind of slang, but it's called dropping the gloves. People will be like, oh, they dropped the gloves, or do you think they're going to drop the gloves? That means do you think they're going to fight? Because if you take off your gloves, it's kind of like, oh, okay, they're going to fight. Now we have a game misconduct, and that is a penalty resulting in the player being suspended for the rest of the game, which is not good. High sticking is a minor penalty, and that happens when a player carries their stick above their shoulder or like hits an opponent with it. Even if it's unintentional, it's a minor penalty, intentional or unintentional. Holding is a minor penalty, and it happens when a player uses their hands to literally hold an opponent or their stick. Hooking is a minor penalty, and it's when a player uses the blade of their stick or they, like, grab an opponent from behind. Does that make sense? Like, they're hooking. They're literally hooking them. This next one, if you are a female, you are going to be asked this every time you like hockey. You're either going to be asked to name 5 players. So I would have 5 players ready on deck, by the way. But you won't even need them because you're going to freaking know hockey. You know hockey. But if you're a new fan and you don't know what to expect, from regular college boys, I will say, for the most part, you will need to know this. They will say, name 5 players, or what's icing? And no, I'm not talking about, like, the delicious icing on cakes. Actually, I'm not even an icing girl, to be completely honest with you. Please let me know if you like icing. And if you don't, let me know if there's any icing that you do like. Because I kind of like buttercream. Okay, that's not what we're talking about, though. But icing in this situation, pay attention, okay? It's a non-penalty infraction. And it happens when a player shoots or passes the puck from their team's side of the center line across the rival's goal line without the puck being touched by a player from his team or the opponent's. Does that make sense? Capiche, or whatever it is. Caposh? I don't remember. Anyway. Interference. It's an illegal shot, and it's where the player kicks the blade of a stick, and it is while, like, it carries the puck. A major penalty is 5 minutes. A minor penalty is 2 minutes. Note that. A match penalty is a penalty where the player is suspended for the remainder of the game. A misconduct penalty is a 10-minute penalty against a player, not the team. Unlike a minor penalty, the team does not play with a man down or shorthanded during this. Roughing is a minor penalty, and it's just, like, unnecessary rough play. Like, if somebody's, which should be called on Jacob Trouba so much more than it is. Granted, I don't watch the Rangers unless they're playing the Bruins or the Devils, but oh my god, we're not going to go into that. Next up is slashing, like the slasher. It's a minor penalty, and it's called when the player literally slashes their stick at an opponent. Spearing is a major penalty, and it's when a player jabs the blade of their stick at an opponent. And then the last word that I have for us to talk about today is tripping. And this is pretty simple. It's a minor penalty, and it's called when a player pulls down an opponent with their stick or hand or leg or makes them trip. It is literally tripping someone. Now, there are so many more terms that we could talk about, honestly. And these are not even, like, lingo that you will hear from regular hockey people. These are just terms in the game. But by learning these terms, or at least getting a hang of some of them, you're going to be able to understand the game so much fucking better. So much better. And I wish that there was a podcast, and maybe there is and I never found it, and I'm sorry if that happened. I wish when I was getting into hockey there was a podcast where I could go and it wasn't just like everybody expecting you to know everything all the time. And I'm sure as the penalty box, like, progresses and grows, we're not going to be always giving history lessons or, like, lessons every single episode. Obviously, like, I'm not talking, like, right now. I'm talking, like, way far down. But I do like to do this now and in the beginning so people can come back and they can listen. They can get a refresher, because sometimes you forget, and that's okay. And sometimes it's scary to ask people, like, hey, what is high sticking? Or, like, how long is a major penalty? Because sometimes it's scary how people will react. And if you're brave enough to go and ask people or Google it or whatever, good for you. That is iconic. But I wanted to provide a place and a person for people to learn, refresh, or just, like, be a fan of hockey. Anyway, those are all the terms I have for you today. I do have some slang terms up on our Instagram. It was posted literally last summer. It's in one of the highlights. We have posted a lot of hockey lingo type post on our Instagram before, and I actually did do a hockey slang episode of the podcast before it was rebranded, and I'm pretty sure I privated it, so it's not out there right now, but I'm glad I got to do this. I like to teach, I like to give lessons, and I like to make it accessible, and I especially like to hear, like, oh, you inspired me and I went to my first game, or stuff like that. So just know we do try to read DMs. I do get DMs sent to me from the account, so I get to see some of them. I appreciate all the support from each and every one of you. Thank you to my incredible team for making this happen and for doing this so passionately. None of us are getting paid. We are all doing the graphics and the writing and the posting because we are so passionate about the sport and doing what we love. So big shout out to my entire team. They are so incredible, and we're actually going to start doing little spotlights on them. I think twice a month we're going to start doing that. So keep a lookout for that. That is going to be super exciting, and I can't wait to kind of formally introduce them to our listeners and our followers. But anyway, thank you so much for listening. I seriously am so thankful for you. If you are feeling nice, it would mean so much if you could follow us on Spotify or wherever you're listening and like or subscribe or rate 5 stars, whatever the positive thing is. It would mean a lot. We all work really hard on this podcast. There's 30 people on this team, all women. It's actually a coincidence, all women. And we work very, very hard, and every little thing of sport means the world. Anyway, I will see you guys next week. I love you. Thank you for listening. And until then, I will see you in the penalty box. Bye, guys. Mwah.
Thanks for tuning into the Penalty Box Podcast. Don't forget to connect with us on social media by searching for the Penalty Box. Also, make sure you hit that follow button on Spotify. And if you enjoyed the show, leave us a 5-star review. Until next time, see you in the penalty box.